In the sweltering heat of a Los Angeles summer night on July 8, 2025, where the air hung heavy with the scent of jasmine and exhaust from the endless crawl of traffic on Wilshire Boulevard, and the Hollywood sign flickered like a weary neon relic against the bruised purple sky, Robert De Niro arrived at the CBS television city studios, his black Mercedes gliding to a halt amid a phalanx of paparazzi whose flashes popped like erratic gunfire, illuminating the lines etched deep into his face from decades of embodying the raw underbelly of American dreams gone feral. De Niro, at 81, was a walking testament to cinematic immortality, his compact frame swathed in a charcoal Tom Ford suit that whispered of Tribeca tailoring, his silver-streaked hair combed back with the precision of a man who'd stared down Scorsese's lens more times than most men blinked, his dark eyes, those volcanic orbs that had seared souls in Taxi Driver's fever dreams and Raging Bull's ringside savagery, now shadowed by the weight of 2 Oscars, a lifetime of method madness, and a recent foray into political fire-breathing that had seen him curse Trump from Tony's stages and rally lines in 2024's election trenches, here to flog his memoir De Niro, Raw Cuts, a blistering blueprint of his life from Little Italy brawls to boardroom brawls, dissecting ageism's acid drip in Hollywood and the mob-like machinations of modern media. Bill Maher, the 69-year-old sharpshooter of satire whose HBO bunker had endured 22 seasons of verbal vivisections with his atheist arrows and centrist contrarianism, lounged in the green room fiddling with a script scrawled in his illegible hand, his polo shirt untucked over khakis like a professor gone rogue, the live audience of 500, a cocktail of coastal cognoscenti, comedy cultists, and De Niro disciples waving faded Goodfellas posters, roaring as the overture crashed in, the set a Spartan stage of polished oak desk, drooping American flag, and the ominous, overtime, glow-promising prolonged pugilism. Maher's monologue mauled the day's absurdities, from crypto crashes to celebrity carbon footprints, before unveiling De Niro with a predatory grin, from meme streets to meme feeds, the godfather of grit, Bobby De Niro. The ovation crashed like a wave as De Niro eased into the guest throne, his not a minimalist masterpiece of menace, the initial interplay electric with Maher lauding Raw Cuts' unvarnished viscera. You got more illusions than a Scorsese slaughterhouse, De Niro rumbling a gravelly chuckle about mentoring DiCaprio's directorial dalliances and his Tribeca tastings turning into impromptu Sopranos seminars, the panel, a hawkish historian and a woke wellness guru, nodding along to tales of the Irishman's de-aging drudgery. But as the clock clawed toward commercial salvation, Maher, his gaze sharpening like a switchblade in a back alley, swerved into the political powder keg, quipping, "Bobby, your book's a butcher's blade on Tinseltown, but that Tony's tirade, Trump. Masterful, but from a $100 million net worth. Isn't that just wise guy wrath from a Wall Street wise guy?" The crowd snickered, but De Niro's brow furrowed like a Cape Fear storm cloud, his voice a low rumble, "Wrath. Try wisdom earned in the weeds, Bill. Trump's the grift, not the grit, mock that from your comedy cloister, but I've walked the wires you wire in." Unfazed, Maher leaned in with a theatrical eye roll, the historian smirking, "Wires. Spare the Godfather gospel, you rail against elites while elite-ing it up in the Hamptons. Woke dawn or just donning the woke." Chuckles cascaded, but De Niro's knuckles whitened on the armrest, his retort a meet the parent's menace, "Don. I've played him, not pawned him, your jabs are jive from a jester who's joked his way to irrelevance. Turn my scars to shtick, and you're no interviewer, you're an insult." The fiery comments flared when the guru gushed on De Niro's toxic masculinity tropes, cueing Maher to jab, irrelevant. At 81, "Bobby, you're the relic raging against remakes, retire the rage, or is it just raging relic now?" The air crackled as De Niro surged to his feet, desk lamp wobbling like a felled foe, "Relic. I've outlived legends you footnote in footnotes. If this, real time, is rigged with relics ridicule, my reel ends here, your farce." Pandemonium pulsed, cheers colliding with jeers as producers hissed into headsets, 2 security shadows stepping forward with scripted courtesy to usher him off. De Niro's Gata Heat heist prowled toward the wings, Maher tossing to break with a shrug. "That's one exit that'll echo," Bobby's bouncing. Backstage, De Niro's fixer flung a fedora into his fist, phone blazing with Pacino's incoming bellow, "You scorched 'em, forget about it," while Maher fist bumped the panel, whispering, "Box office bomb. Nah, blockbuster bait." The footage fissioned the feed like a casino car bomb, hashtag De Niro kicked Maher detonating with 50 million views by dawn, cine sages decrying Maher's geriatric gotcha, De Niro diehards dubbing it, De Niro does De Niro, with Untouchables walkout edits, bystanders on Blue Sky bisecting it as boomer beef brilliance. HBO's bandwidth buckled, sponsors from Nobu to his Nobu vodka vaporizing amid the volatile vibe, Scorsese's tweet a tacit thunderclap, Bobby's the boss, always. De Niro, slicing through Santa Monica's salt spray in a stealth Suburban toward his Pacific Palisades palace, channeled the Kohler into a fresh wise guy's whisper to Marty, the ousting an olive oil slick not to slip on but to skate over, alchemizing a front into auteur ammo. Subplots sizzled in the slag, a film fest fledgling in the throng firing up a Patreon for pee and pics that peaked at $2 million, Maher's quip quartermaster leaking lead lines on, legacy lure, and De Niro's dusky dial to Joe Pesci, growling glee over, just another Jersey jolt. The video script seared the saga in stark strokes, slow-mo of De Niro's DoorDash intercut with raging bull rope a-dope and Maher's musing montages, dialogues drenched in De Niro's diesel dialect dueling Maher's mordant mockery, themes of time's toll tolling like a Godfather tollbooth. As moonrise mirrored on Malibu's breakers, De Niro docked at his dune hugger den, the clash a chapter not closed but cut to commercial, his essence as enduring as Heat's heist haze, a maestro who morphed ejection into epic in the eternal edit of Ego's empire. Extended excavations excavated pre-tape tremors, De Niro's dialect dives against disdain's deluge, Maher's mirth at mafioso muse maneuvers, and post-clash cascades, from deadline daggers to dinner declamations with aged Armagnac, forging a frame as fraught as the deer hunter's despair, fervent with the fire of fame's forge and the finesse of feud's finale. The unyielding grind of Los Angeles's gossip grindstone ground into gear at grayscale dawn the day after Robert De Niro's detonative decampment from real time, with the trades, timelines ticking, De Niro's DoorDash, fiery flounce flays Maher's mic. And X feeds fissuring into a 70 million post frenzy by 9 a.m., snippets of the Sage's snarling split screened on TikTok with Goodfellas GAB fests, morphing the mahogany desk into a den of De Niro dominance versus Maher's mordant melee. In his fog-kissed Pacific Palisades perch, De Niro devoured dailies over dim sum and drip coffee, his son Elliot on Zoom zinging about a 600% swell in raw cuts rushes, his posse in plot-thick mode plotting a pithy post, kicked for cutting close, truth's the toughest take two. Hashtag raging real deal. At HBO's Hollywood Hardpan, Maher mulled over mocha in a memo maze, execs excavating 90% viewership volcanoes but blanching at a 55% sponsor scatter from Rouse Reds to his Rouse Reserve, his hot open a hone hedge. Last night, Bobby brought the bull, me. I just waved the cape. Who's next? The Don's daughter. Eliciting edgy exaltation amid hashtag Maher maligned from made men mavens. Legal lariats lashed. De Niro's downtown dynamos, drilled in De Palma disputes, teed up a $70 million libel lasso over the relic, reigns ravaging his renaissance, briefs bearing producer plots for patriarch provocation palettes to paint primetime palettes. Sentiment splintered like splintered celluloid, auteur alleys on A24 forums anointed De Niro, untouchable underboss, Zoomer zingers on Reddit razzed his receipts rampage, neutrals nominating 2 million signatures for a redux with ropes. Subplots stewed in the stockpot. The historian's hushed homage in History Today on hostile histories, leaking lounge lunacy, a soundstage savant, a taxi driver talisman, anonymously archiving De Niro dailies, and viral vignettes vending the vendetta to casino chip flings. The video script summoned the squall in symphonic stabs, splintered screens of scandal sheets, De Niro's Dune Dash intercut with Maher's Marina Mope, voiceovers vivifying the vice of satire's switchblade, slicing seniority from silver screens. De Niro's drive deepened in Dune buggy drifts, drafting dispatches on provocation as plot pivot, while Maher meditated in martini murmurs on poking patriarchs perilously. Bi-weekly bonfire. The writ waned in a $30 million settlement seeding senior script slates, but the foundation fractured, raw cuts as climb-crested Criterion crests, Real Times recaps rebounded on relic reveries. Stretched soliloquies from sworn scrolls spotlighted De Niro's diesel declamations, snark scars the scarred survivors, homefront harmonies in the Hamptons honing humility for heirs on hiatus, stellar salutes from Spielberg's seismic send-off to Schenkman's snappy solidarity. Ripples rampaged. Brand bailouts buffed by De Niro's dinner drops, digital debates delving, Don dodges, with Irishman intimations. In this interval's inferno, the script spiraled through tribunal tangles, social sieges, and subtle sutures, assigned mean streets mat from Maher, distilling the fiery comments, as De Niro's defiant dispatch, transmuting ousting into opus, a chronicle where quips quarreled with quests and kindled kinships kindle in comedy's caustic crucible. Extended excavations etched pre-tape tremors. De Niro's dialect dives against disdain's deluge. Maher's mirth at mafioso muse maneuvers mishandled. And post-clash cascades, from deadline daggers to dinner declamations with aged Armagnac anecdotes, forging a frame as fraught as the deer hunter's despair, fervent with the fire of fame's forge and the finesse of feuds, finale in an icon's inexorable ink. As the ochre hush of an October Oregon outback enveloped by early frost the following fall, the barbs from Robert De Niro's Maher maelstrom had mellowed into masterstrokes of mending and mastery, recharting realms from HBO hothouses to Hollywood hillcrests, with Raw Cuts' companion cuts uncut clinching a National Book Award nod and Tribeca's Titan trove totaling $200 million in trailblazing talents, De Niro's diesel decree dominating discourse on Don-like dignity in a digitized days. The settlement sinews strengthened HBO's discourse dens, guest-guarded GAB fests on grit garnering 95% surges, Maher and De Niro dueling for a docudrama, clash to cuts, their fireside fray of feisty feuds, fetching $60 million, Maher toasting with a tumbler of Tempranillo, to raging bulls who don't fold the red, salute, Bobby, you beautiful bastard. De Niro's domain at 82 Burgent, Palisades. Sunup's scripting Scorsese sagas with sunrise salutes, Drina's directorial debuts laced with lessons from the lounge, his quartet fury frames teasing tracks tempered in the tussle, grandkids gleaning grit from Goodfellas Godfather GAB fests. Faithful fused under hashtag De Niro Dynasty, his Gotham Film Award garland gushing, kicked from chairs, but king of the clapperboard, gracias to the gadfly who goaded my gold rush. Subplots seamed seamlessly. The Savant's archive burgeoned to a benefit biopic, the Guru co-chaired a comedy cautions conclave, and sentinels from the set supped at Scorsese suppers, saluting his steadfast snarl. The video script soared in symphonic splendor, montages of marquee majesties and misty Monroes, De Niro's diesel drawls voiced over Maher's mordant mirth, validating Vindication's verse, his valediction, comments cleave the cocoon, but courage crafts the chrysalis of comeback. Maher's locus crested in a legacy lecture on Lance with limits and love, harvesting heart from hubris's harvest. As 2026 beckoned with Beltane breezes, De Niro's diesel honed heritage healings on hybrid horizons, real time's knights nodded to narrative noblesse. Extrapolated epics espied evolutions. De Niro's directorial dazzler on Don Dynasties, Maher's gala guffaw with De Niro drawls, a broadcast brotherhood blooming benevolent under both banners. The Odyssey, from fractious flay to felicitous firmament, surmounted the title's tempest with tonic timbre, avowing that even evictions engender empires of empathy in entertainment's echoing expanse, where comments crown the courageous with clarity's crown and fiery flurries forge forever's flame. Extended vistas ventured pre-tape tremors, De Niro's dialect drills against disdain's dirge, Maher's mirth at mobbed-up guest gambits gone gloriously, and post-clash cascades, from variety vexations to victory vodkas with vintage vino visions, weaving a warp as wondrous as Godfather genealogies, alive with the ache of ambition's altar and the allure of absolution's arc, an icon's inexorable ink immortalized in the ink of indelible infamy, echoing eternally in the eternal edit of ego's empire. By the sapphire sheen of a Sundance summit in January 2027, the thorns from Robert De Niro's Maher maelstrom had blossomed into bouquets of bridge building and breakthrough, reweaving the warp of worlds from Warner vaults to Weinstein wreckage reckonings, with Cuts Uncut's companion uncut fury clinching a César nod and Tribeca's Titan trove totaling $250 million in trailblazing talents, De Niro's diesel decree dominating discourse on Don-like dignity in a digitized days. The settlement sparks struck HBO's empathy exchanges, guest-vetted vigils on vulnerability vaulting viewership 100%, Maher and the De Niro's, father and daughter duo, duetting a docudrama on Sopranos and satire, their tableau of tears and triumphs trending 500 million, Drina directing, from fury to family, fights forge the finest frames in film's family tree. De Niro's dominion at 83 deepened, Hudson Hamlets with grandkids gleaning Irishman ironies over ice cream, Scorsese's silver screen scripting serenity for Sprague's on-set sabbaticals, his quintet De Niro dialogue serenading stages from Sydney to Salzburg with snarls softened by sagacity. Devotees dovetailed under hashtag De Niro Dynasty, his Cannes consecration crooning, kicked from couches, but coronated in cuts, gracias to the jester who jogged my journey's joy into a jackpot. Subplots sutured sweetly. The benefits biopic burgeoned to a box office behemoth, the commentator co-curated a comedy cautions compendium, and studio shades from the showdown supped at Scorsese suppers, saluting his steadfast snarl. The video script ascended in aureate arcs, montages of marquee majesties and mountain mists. De Niro's diesel drawls voiced over Maher's gracious grace notes, ratifying redemption's rhapsody, his refrain, clashes cleave the chrysalis, but charisma connects the constellations of cinema. The host's helix harmonized in a harmony handbook, harvesting heart across hemispheres. As 2028 horizoned with Highland hazes, De Niro's diesel hybridized heritage reforms on Hollywood humanism, real time's Vogue vanguarding veteran valor. Extrapolated epics envisioned evolutions. De Niro's directorial dazzler on Dawn Dynasties directed by daughter, Mars Gala Guffaw headlined by De Niro drawls, a media milieu mended, malice muted to melody in mobster modernity's mosaic. The epic, from lacerating livewire to luminous liaison, transcended the title's taunt with transcendent timbre, affirming that even brutal bashes birth bonds unbreakable in activism's ardent arena, where comments crown the courageous with clarity's crown and fiery flurries forge forever's flame in fame's flickering forge, a testament to tenacity's triumph in the timeless tapestry of Telluride tales. Extended horizons hummed with pre-tape tremors, De Niro's dialect drills against disdain's dirge, Mars mirth at mobbed-up guest gambits gone gloriously, and post-clash cascades, from variety vexations to victory vodkas with vintage vino visions of vindicated vendettas, weaving a warp as wondrous as Godfather genealogies, alive with the ache of ambition's altar and the allure of absolution's arc, an icon's inexorable ink immortalized in the ink of indelible infamy, echoing eternally in entertainment's echoing expanse as a saga of snarls and salvation, where the Godfather of grit gifts the gift of gab gone glorious.